In this week's Fixture Friday, we're going to take a look at a customer pallet that's one of the most impressive and creative ones I've ever seen. Well, in this week's Fixture Friday, we're taking a look at a fixture made by Byron Hatfield at Hatfield Industries. You can follow him on Instagram, and when we did, we saw these fixtures here that kind of caught our attention. And the first question that I had is, what is this? I couldn't tell what is the part, what is the fixture. I mean, I know our product, but everything he built on top of that is pretty darn impressive. I emailed him and he sent us a ton of photos so we can go through them right now. Okay, in this first photo I want to show you, let me explain what he's got going on. These here are just his raw work pieces. Now he's got our mini pallet base, a 6x10 mini pallet, and down here was a custom riser that he made because he has one of those machines that the Z travel doesn't quite come down as low as other machines. So he actually had to raise it up a little bit so that his Z travel could reach the tops of the pallets, even with longer length tools. So I love the creativity that he's done right there. Now, everything that you see up here is an additional fixture that he's built onto it. And this fixture comes and goes with the pallet, and it's also removable for a different operation. Now here's the finished part. It's extruded aluminum, and it has one side with a drilled and tapped hole, and it's also faced. Then it's flipped on its side where it has this hole that's obviously drilled and counterbored. And then the other side is trimmed to size. So here's what the pallet looks like after he completed the first operation, which is actually the second operation. It'll make more sense, but take a look at some of the things he's done. He has a lot of locating pins. Now, some of these locating pins are for this fixture that I'm going to show you in a few moments, but the others serve as work stops. He also uses these threaded studs that are threaded in from the bottom to hold down his secondary fixture. Here it is on the table, and looks like he's, based on where his Heimer is back here, it looks like he's picking up the origin from a corner, maybe the top. So if you do it that way, I always, like I've said in other videos, machine a little triad so you can easily pick up that edge. I can't really tell if he's done that, but of course that's the best practice. Another top view here. And you can see here, this is what it looks like in his secondary fixture, which gets bolted down in the middle of this. And there it is. Now this is this secondary fixture. He stands the parts up vertically and then clamps them down. And he's got these little, he's turned some brass bushings with this spring, and he has these clamps that he's machined in all three spots. And if you notice, he has 3 on one side, 3 on the other back here. And with what I really like about this is how he's only turning the wrench 6 times, but he's going to clamp 12 pieces. And that's what I like to see in a well-designed fixture. So now he's got his just raw cut stock loaded up here. And what he told me is in these corners, he's got a little bit of a, he went with a sharp corner here because the material has a radius on it, so it fits perfectly. You can kind of see best here. He's using these 2 pins here as a work stop, so he's pushing these parts out. Let me zoom in here. What he's doing is he's using this O-ring placed at the bottom to actually put pressure to move the parts outward against those work stops. It's genius. I love it. So there's, if now he's running this, but if he had an operator doing this, that O-ring pushing out makes it kind of foolproof. So there's no variation if someone doesn't center those or doesn't fully push them up against the pins. The O-ring is doing the work of doing that outward expansion of the parts. Here it is on his desk, finished parts. You can see nice, beautiful finish, drilled, tapped, and chamfered holes. Another thing that you might not catch is right here. He's using a torque wrench. So one of the most beneficial things you can do in any type of production scenario is to have as much consistency in place. He's using a torque wrench to snug down these bolts so that he's not crushing things, he's not distorting his fixture. Everything is consistent. Consistency is one of the most impressive things that I see in this fixture. Now here's what it looks like for the second operation. He's taken out that center secondary fixture and he's reusing everything. He's even using like the same studs that stick up with the springs, the same O-ring approach. And that way he's holding his parts down. And remember I told you in the beginning that he had an array of different pins. Let me zoom in here and you can kind of see these. So 2 of these are work stops, and then there's 2 that you can't see that are going to be end stops so the parts get pushed together. So everything is really consistent. He's even got ones here on the outside. So again, his parts are pushed up against work stops. Genius, I love it. And finally, afterwards, you can see he does, I can tell by the tool path along here that he's coming along with an end mill and he's facing these sides. That's how he brings the total part to length here. And then he's drilling and doing maybe a chamfer op or whatever happens there. So overall, such an impressive pallet. Now, there's 3 things that stand out that I want to re-emphasize. Number 1, so going back to this photo here, he has 6 screws to hold 12 parts. That's incredible efficiency of motion. He just puts them in, he clamps them down, and oh, and by the way, he's got identical pallets. So while one is being machined, the other one is outside of the machine, and there's virtually no spindle downtime. It's just swapping pallets, keep the spindle running. Now, the second thing I like is that he has taken out any chance of errors. Like for example, when I zoom into here, you get that nice good view of this O-ring, which is pushing out the pressure against these work stops here. And of course, gravity helps to push the part down against it. He's eliminating any chance of mistakes. Even using the torque wrench on this bolt right here, everything is consistent. That's perfect. Now, you know that we practice lean. The Japanese word for what he's done here is called poki-oki, which is eliminating the chance for errors to occur. By doing this, he's practicing poki-oki, which the fixture is making everything to be as consistent as possible. Human variation, human error is just not a factor in loading this pallet. And finally, the third thing that stands out is, of course, his resourcefulness. So what Byron did is he used one pallet, obviously, using this secondary fixture to make the first op, but he then made it so that it can be taken off and reused for the second op. Like, that is just next level type design work. And again, it's so impressive that he would not burn a second set of pallets, but he would reuse the first set of pallets with a secondary fixture to achieve amazing throughput. So Byron, well done. Like, seriously, amazing job. Hey, if you have a fixture you want to share with us, go into your Instagram feed, and even if it's an old fixture, add the hashtag Pearson Fixture Friday. We'll go through it. We're following that hashtag. We might contact you to use your pallet. So until then, go innovate your production.